Is it written in Dan Simmons' contract that because the book is so good, we have to be fair to everyone else and we just have to give you crappy covers, or what? I want to talk to you guys about book cover art. Specifically, one of my all-time favorite books, Hyperion by Dan Simmons. Now, to me, a successful book cover has the ability and the power to lure an unsuspecting, brand new potential reader into picking up the book, reading the back cover, and taking the book home. Hopefully, to read a book that they never knew that they were looking for, but always wanted. And this is what the US mass market paperback edition does not do well for me. As a matter of fact, this is a book that I actively avoided for years. I just have this visceral revulsion to this cover. I was embarrassed to be seen with it. When I finally read it last year, I was blown away. It's 100% worth the hype, and I'm so glad I did. It's definitely my top 3 science fiction books of all time. However, the cover really let me down. One of the things that I think that this book cover gets wrong that bothers me is the tone or the vibe of this book cover. It just doesn't say science fiction to me. It doesn't give me that intrigue or the curiosity that it would take for me to pick up the book off of the shelf. My controversial dislike of this cover has actually led me to a lot of really interesting conversations online and has also caused a little bit of a friendly feud between me and Jonathan from Words in Time. It started on Discord and eventually sort of spilled over into one of the videos that I did with him on his channel. Towards the end of the video, we start talking about book covers, and he absolutely loves this mass market paperback edition cover of Hyperion. He loves it so much that he was so upset that I didn't like it that he tried to start a hashtag called #TeamHyperionBookCover. In response, I still maintain that it's not a book cover that most people are going to want. Handing this book to somebody and saying, this could be the best potential science fiction book of all time. Science fiction. And then looking at the cover and saying, are you sure? Because it looks kind of like a romance book. So I am #redo Hyperion book cover. Please let us know in the comments down below, or if you want to check out our discussion, I'm going to link that video in the description down below. I wanted to justify my opinion a little bit more. I decided to take a look at this book cover and try to explain to you why I don't like it. Very quickly, I found 3 reasons why I don't like this book cover and things that would really improve it for me. The first is the pastel colors, because I think this is what gives me the tone or the vibe of the romance, because it's a very whimsical feel to pastel colors. I looked around online and I found some alternative covers. Interestingly, one that was done in French Canada, where they did the entire series, all 4 books, in pastel colors. What you'll see if you focus specifically on the Hyperion book and compare it to the original is you'll see that I like the French Canada version a little bit better. It's a little bit more abstract. This French Canada version kind of also has the wrong vibe. If you'll notice the 2 people walking on the yellow road and going up to what looks like maybe a big castle or a city up there, it almost looks like a Wizard of Oz, right? They're following the yellow brick road to get up to the Emerald City, and that's not exactly the vibe that we're looking for Hyperion either. The second thing that I can definitely say is the font and the colors that they chose for the title. If you notice in this main cover, you'll see that they chose a black color for the font. It's a very pointy, blocky text. It's not one that really inspires me. It also takes up the entire top half of the book. One of the things that I wanted to go do was find a book cover that didn't have as big of a text, and I found one. The Chinese version of this book uses the exact same cover. You can see if you compare the 2 side by side, it's significantly smaller on the cover, and it allows the rest of the picture to breathe, if you will. And I feel like even though the color is black, it actually does kind of clean up this picture a lot better than I expected it to. I also found another version of this book, and they took this exact same picture, but instead they gave it a blue title, and they changed the font to be a little bit more futuristic, a little bit more of a modern font. And I like this blue text significantly more. And lastly, we have to have the composition. Now, I want you to understand that I am not dissing the artist of this beautiful painting. What I do think is the way they chose to have this wrap around the book was very poor. If you look at the front cover of this book, you'll see the silhouette of the Shrike in the corner. He's also staring into the landscape of the photo, and that is implying that there is something very interesting happening somewhere otherwise in this landscape picture, and all we see is a giant field of grass with a, I don't know, was that a 16th century boat or something on the grass? To me, that says that the important piece of this art is gonna be this boat that's on the field of grass. That implies some kind of like weird magic or maybe steampunk to this book, which is definitely not the case. It also sort of takes away the focus from the Shrike. We're not really gonna talk about how the Shrike doesn't have enough appendages because again, I'm looking at this from the terms of a brand new reader who hasn't picked up this book and doesn't know that the Shrike needs 4 arms, not 2, but fine. I found a German version of this exact same photo that put the entire picture that the artist painted on the front cover and then topped it with a black bar on top and a black bar on bottom. As you can see with this comparison picture, it is significantly more tolerable. And I think it's because it puts the Shrike in the middle of the painting. We also have this ability to see this alien looking tree that definitely brings us to the knowledge that this is an alien world rather than it just being some field with a boat on it. On top of that, they changed the text and the font and matched it to the flowers, which was really well done because then it brings my attention to them, again making me see that this is a very beautiful alien world rather than a fantasy land. Now, I much prefer the German version. However, I'm still not a huge fan of this cover. Special editions have become like really popular lately. I mean, look at these gorgeous Dune covers. Dune has like this one and this one, and oh my gosh, this one. And wow, Dune has so many covers to choose from that surely you can find one beautiful special edition cover. And yet, this is the cover that Hyperion gets. Yep, that's what it gets. That's it. I don't even know what that is on the front cover. Is that supposed to be like leaves or something? Like, really? Really? You gave Lord of the Rings that cover and Hyperion gets this cover? What's even crazier to me is that there are so many good special edition covers out there for so many less popular books. What is going on here? Is it written in Dan Simmons' contract that because the book is so good, we have to be fair to everyone else and we just have to give you crappy covers or what? I wish we had something prettier to show, but so far I haven't found it. So if you know of a better special edition Hyperion cover, I might be willing to drop some money on it. Beyond just special editions, I also wanted to go around and look at other Hyperion covers from other countries and other publishers. Now we have to talk about covers that exist out there that are significantly worse. That's right, significantly worse than the original cover. Let's look at those. There's also this cover here that just features Dan Simmons' eyes. I think this is a creepy cover, Dan Simmons' eyes, but it's red, but it's Dan Simmons' eyes. Very creepy, and it has nothing whatsoever to do with the book. And unless I know who Dan Simmons is, this is not a book that I'm gonna pick up just for this cover, right? Awkward, kind of scary, sort of creepy. I don't know, don't really like it. Another cover that I really don't think is something that a new person is gonna pick up or be intrigued by is this cover here. Now, I don't know exactly which country this is or which language this is. Again, I'm sorry for my ignorance. Maybe German? I'm not really sure. The important part is the space theme is good, but they have this beautiful picture of a spaceship of some kind. But why do they have it in the corner down here? That's super weird and not intriguing at all. There's something off about this cover. Now, a few books I found, book covers that I found that I would classify on the same level as the original cover are some of these. Two Russian covers that I found. They both kind of send me the vibe of the graphic novel. So there's actually nothing wrong with these, and I actually really enjoy that they also have the appropriate number of arms on the Shrike. There is a lot to be said about the symbolism of the scary Shrike holding a baby, that kind of thing, the whole idea of danger and innocence and that kind of such. While I do find these covers to be intriguing, especially if I was at a comic book store or a graphic novel, I don't think that this art style is right. Now let's talk about book covers that I think are slightly better than the original cover. Then I have 4 of the next ones that I think are A+. Now these are significantly better covers than the other ones. Whoever did these, on point. They're so good. Now the next one is one that I have to show you all 4 books because oh my gosh, they did so good. This cover looks really scary because it looks like a skull. It's the second and third books that I think are the best. Oh my gosh, the cruciform and look at these. These are so good. I really love them. However, I also know that where I was in college wanting to pick up books, I'm not entirely sure I would have picked this book up. While the cover art is beautiful and interesting, it makes it look like a horror book. It belongs on the cover of like Scary Stories or something. So I do not rate it as a perfect cover or my superior tier because it's just a little bit too heavy on the horror side of things. So because I found these, I also found an ebook cover that somebody did that was very abstract, and it's this one. Oh my gosh, look at how cool this is. Now, I have 3 covers in particular that I like the most, that I think have the broadest appeal, that are the most interesting. Feel free to disagree with me, but here they are. This one shows, I think it's supposed to be the initial tree spaceship. And wow, it's intriguing, it's interesting, it's an idea I had never thought of before. There's something about this cover. Yes, it's a little vintage, yes, it's a little old, but wow, is it intriguing. I love it. 100% this cover, this version, if it was English, I would buy it. And then the last cover is actually one, I think, from Spain, although I can't confirm that. It's definitely another Latin-speaking country. And it's this cover here. Now you guys already know my aesthetic is a little bit more leaning towards the vintage, but it could be modern. And granted, it's not enough limbs. Black is perfect. It's a little bit dark. It's got a really good font. It's definitely something that I anticipate for an older science fiction book, and I love this one. I love this cover. Which of these covers were your favorites? Let me know in the comments down below. If I've missed covers, which I inevitably have, I'm always interested in seeing other Hyperion covers, and I would love to see somebody send me a special edition link that I could find a decent cover of Hyperion. Come over to Discord and talk to me about what you think about Hyperion covers. Until next time, you guys.